بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم جزاكم الله khairan for joining us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us all. It's the beautiful Friday, beautiful the month of Ramadan. We're just getting so much here, opportunities here, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has just made it a chance for us to get reward on top of rewards, non-stop. We see that Alhamdulillah it's the first day of Ramadan and it starts on the blessed day of Friday. We also see the situation that we're in. Most of us are not at school, we're not at work, we may be working from home. And it's a way for us to just look at it from a different perspective, that we really have this chance now, where in the past maybe we had different distractions, different excuses that would stop us to do certain a'mal and certain deeds in the month of Ramadan. And now a lot of these distractions and excuses have been removed. It's laid out for us to really just make the most out of this beautiful month. And starting it on a Friday where we have so much as opportunities. And these opportunities, they come, and once they come and we let it pass us by, we will not see that opportunity again. So that's why it is very important, where we have to make sure that we seize that opportunity. Where even the Prophet ﷺ gave us in different ahadith the advice that seize the opportunity before certain excuses come to you. And he gives us different excuses, which we've talked about in the past, of old age, of sickness, of poverty, situations, the day of judgment, Dajjal, all these kinds of death itself, old age, these different kinds of excuses that and hardships that may come, that will stop us from actually seizing opportunities that are right there in front of us. We have a chance to help someone that's in need, and then we don't, but then later on we're in need and we can't help anyone. We have a chance to do a lot of good deeds because we have our health. All of a sudden we get sick and we can't do those deeds. So really we have to seize every single opportunity that's out there. And this month is sort of just aligned in a perfect way for us to just take maximum effort, make maximum effort and get maximum results. Because we're going to seize every single opportunity that comes in front of us. And the other thing that we can look at also is it's a point of us really focusing on this real important part of our life, which we take for granted. And not only do we take for granted, but because we're not spending so much time, it's not in our minds. And that's our time with our family, our time with the close ones, our loved ones. Sometimes we take one another for granted. Two siblings, they'll get into arguments constantly, but two friends won't. They'll get into arguments, but not as much as two siblings. But we're more cheerful when we're outside. When we're inside, just alone, we may not be as cheerful. So if these kinds of things and problems exist, this is a very good chance for us to, again, take this opportunity to try to make do and make right of and actually appreciate what we've taken for granted. Now, in a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he says, when the first night of Ramadan comes, which was last night, he says that the shayateen and the mischievous jinns, they're all locked up. The influence is minimal, if nothing. And that right there should, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removes their influence on top of us, whether it's through our own deeds, through our own sincerity, through the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or all of it combined, we have this chance now to just say, okay, it's just me and my desires. And if it's just me and my desires, then I have no excuse. We should be careful and not underestimate our desires, because shaitan had no shaitan to astray him from the straight path. Shaitan only had his desires. Iblis, the one that didn't prostrate when he should have. There was nobody whispering in his heart, only his own desires was. So it's not to be taken lightly. But because we're also fasting, that suppresses our desires and makes them weaker than what we normally have. And that also is another way of interpreting that the shayateen have very little influence on us, because our desires are wicked. That's the tool that the shaitan uses to distract us and go away from the straight path. So, regardless of what it is, we have very little influence from shaitan. Our desires are suppressed. This is now a chance for us to say, okay, what do I want to do? Because in that same hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, after saying that all the doors of the hellfire are closed and not a single one will be open, all the doors of Jannah are open, not a single one will be closed. Afterwards, in the hadith, he says, a caller will call out, Ya baghi al-khair, aqbil. O seeker of good, proceed. There should be no obstacle in front of you right now. Just walk ahead, and whatever good that you wanted to do is right there. Nothing is stopping you. The influence is out, the desires are out. It's just you now, and you just going out and saying, okay, well, what good do I want to do at this moment? And that's all pretty much what we're deciding. For example, if it's time for Salah al-Fajr, that's the best thing we could do at the time of Salah. We don't sit there and do other amal, whether it's the dhikr or things like that. We save that for other times. But when it's time for the Salah, when it comes in, we say, okay, it's time for Salah. That's the best thing I could do at this time. If I see somebody in need, whether it's someone in the street or some organization or the masjid or anything else, what's the best thing I could do at this moment? And that's the only struggle that we should be facing right now. Is, okay, I have all these good deeds in front of me. Which one do I want to do first? Which one is the best to do at this moment? And I prioritize those good deeds. It is so difficult to do bad deeds, especially in the situation that we're in, that we really have to have a type of different agenda or something else, something else pushing us to do opposite of good. That even Jibreel alayhi salam made a dua that whoever the month of Ramadan comes and he doesn't get the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's destroyed. May he be destroyed. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Ameen. Because really, if everything is aligned perfectly for somebody to do good, and all opportunities are there, and all obstacles are removed out the way, and still if someone cannot do a little bit of good deed to attain the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because very little is needed. The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very vast. And the smallest of deeds, where even the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, half of a date, give it to someone. The smallest of deeds, an atom's worth of deed, is all we need at times to get the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, when we want, like I said, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is vast. The more we do, the more mercy of Allah, the more mercy is showered upon us. So we want to keep doing as much as we can. The more mercy we have, the more easy this life becomes, and the easier the afterlife becomes. So, over here, the Prophet ﷺ says, that caller says, come out. Start going out, start doing the good that you seek. And if that person cannot do that at that moment, then what about in normal situations where there are obstacles, there are distractions, there are desires, shaitan is pushing those desires? How easy or how hard will it be for that person to do good deeds at that time? That is why this is an opportunity that we should show ourselves. Show it's only between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not the rest of the people. It's between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I say, you know what? I'm going to do every single good that I can. Every opportunity that comes before me, I'm going to seize it. And another caller is also calling out as well, Ya baghi ash-shar aqsir. O seeker of evil, slow down. Stop. Think about what you're doing. Whatever you're seeking, there's no benefit in it. So this is a chance for us to just bring those thoughts and analyze them. What are we thinking about? What's the thing that comes into our mind when we say, when anything comes? Are we actually analyzing things and asking, is this good or is this bad? At least that's the first question that should come to our mind. And if it's good, we say, okay, the next question, like we were talking about earlier, is this the best at this moment? If it's bad, and we know we're not going to get any type of reward or anything for it, then it should just be dismissed. And actually, when you get that thought to do something bad, you desire to do something bad, but you dismiss it. You didn't do anything, but you still get a good deed for it. So it's a win-win situation. All we do is just be conscious and analyze our minds, analyze our thoughts, and the thoughts that we have before we do an action. And if it's those thoughts, if it's good or bad, we're going to get rewarded for it. Because if it's good, we do it, we get 10 times to 700 times to as many times as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. If it's bad, we decide not to do it, we still get a good deed for it. So thoughts, sometimes shaitan uses those thoughts to trick us, be like, hey, look what you're thinking about. You're not a good guy. But in actuality, you use those thoughts and get good deeds with it. And show shaitan that this is nothing, these thoughts, these desires, I'm in control of it. And when I'm in control of it, every time I decide to purchase one type of food instead of another, something that's halal as opposed to something that's not halal, you're getting rewarded for it. And if the thought ever comes to, why don't you get this, but you decide not to, you're getting rewarded for it. And because of this, that so many opportunities are there in the month of Ramadan, and so many people are just seizing these opportunities. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes all of us from those that seize every single opportunity to get closer to Him in this month right now. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, He frees many people from the hellfire. A lot of people get their freedom through this month of Ramadan. Whether it be through the charity they give in this month, the good deeds, the ibadat, the dhikr, the salawat, the qira'at, al-Quran, everything that they're doing, or it could be a sum of all of it, or something specific that they do really well. In this month, it becomes a means of their freedom from the hellfire. And the Prophet ﷺ says this occurs every night. Every night the caller is being called. Every night Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving people their freedom from the hellfire. Their salvation from the hellfire. It's just a matter of us to think about it and start seizing these opportunities that are there before us. Now, we're talking about doing good deeds, and alhamdulillah, it's good. We should never stop talking about good deeds, but we also have to be careful within those good deeds as well. Now, if we look at the way shaitan, he tells us in the Quran, Allah tells us how he's going to attack us. One of the things that he says is, لَأَقُودَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطِكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. I'm going to be sitting, waiting for them on the straight path. You're praying salah, you have all of these good deeds that's in a row that you're going to start doing, then you're going to read Quran. Within those good deeds, we have to make sure that we don't do something bad. We have to make sure that while we're doing these good deeds, it's positively influencing us, and it's not having negative effect on us where we're thinking all of a sudden bad of other people. Look at this person, they're not praying. Or look at these people, and all of a sudden those good deeds should be positively affecting us, but they're negatively doing it because shaitan is there twisting the thoughts, twisting and putting whispers in our minds while we're doing good deeds. Or our temperament changes because we're doing a good deed, whether it's me being i'tikaf in my room, my kids start making a little bit of noise because they're playing, I'm reading Quran, I'm praying salah, my kids start making a little bit of noise, other kids in the neighborhood start making noise. What's our thought process at that time? What would be the Prophet ﷺ's thought process at that time? There's a story of Anas radiallahu anhu when he was sent by the Prophet ﷺ to do an errand, and the Prophet ﷺ, he was waiting for him to get it done. But Anas radiallahu anhu, he said, when I went out, I saw some kids playing, I started playing with them. He forgot completely, not purposely, but he forgot completely. The Prophet ﷺ came out, saw him, didn't say anything to him, just went out and did it himself. It's not that he also held something in his heart that okay, this is how Anas radiallahu anhu is. Constantly to all these little children, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, Anas radiallahu anhu, Zayd radiallahu anhu, he would, Abdullah bin Zubair radiallahu anhu, he would always just make dua for them, dua for them, dua for them, positively influencing them, letting them grow. Let their kids, they're gonna grow out of it. But while they're growing, we do not want to be the means to get them to hate Ramadan, get them to hate the Quran, get them to hate the Salah, and things like that. Because all of a sudden it's like, we don't want our children to think, oh no, my dad's praying or my mom's praying, we can't do anything because they'll get mad. We don't want anger to be associated with Salah. We want sakina, peace, tranquility with the Quran. That, oh wow, my parents are reading Quran. Okay, this is a good opportunity. We can ask them for something because they're always more happier at this time. Salah, they just prayed Salah. They should be in a very good mood right now. This is subconsciously they're doing this. They're not thinking of this or trying to plot it out, or we shouldn't be trying to fake it. Subconsciously, they're just going to absorb these kinds of things because that's the way those amal, those deeds should be affecting us. And Ramadan the same way. It should not be an angry month where, okay, this is everyone's temperament is wrong. Everyone should be peaceful, tranquil, smiling, working with one another. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that when it was described about him when the month of Ramadan came, that he was like that wind that brought forth the rain. I mean, imagine how much good the people got from the Prophet ﷺ for him to be described as that wind that brings the rain to the desert land. That's their means of salvation that they look forward to, the joy on their faces when they see that rain coming. And that's the Prophet ﷺ when the month of Ramadan comes. So imagine how much they look forward for the month of Ramadan coming. Our kids should be the same. Our family members should be the same. Everyone should be the same, to think that, oh, you know what? In this month, everyone becomes so much nicer. Everyone becomes so much generous. And it affects everybody. And it's a sort of, we have to be careful and not bring those thoughts where, okay, well, if I'm like that, people will abuse that generosity. People will abuse that kindness. We do not want to get abused. But never are we going to change our characteristics for the worse because of what we think people are doing, because of the thoughts that we think. And that's why in the Quran it says that some thoughts are sinful. Whether you're looking down on someone, thinking bad of someone, thinking what their reason is for doing an act, we don't know any of these things. This is between that individual and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So just all we have to be careful right now is we are near the ones that are closest to us, and it's so much easier to just take them for granted in this month. So we sort of act ourselves, our true selves, nothing to hide, no fake smiles. It's just, we love them, they love us. It's just we just act normal. But we don't want that to be, okay, well, I'm normally angry, so I'm going to do it. These people, the ones that are close to us, should be able to see the best side of us. And everyone else sees the very good side or the same side, but these people should see the best side of us. So this month should be a very joyous month for every single person. Alhamdulillah, I mean, we are going through the hardship. I know there are a lot of people out of work. There are some people that may have gotten sick. So there is hardship that's there. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ease their pain, ease their trouble. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless their wealth, that inshallah puts barakah in whatever they have, so that they can continue to get the barakah afterwards. Now we also ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to change the situation back, so that we can come to the masajid as soon as possible. We can be together as a community. Until then, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the best of the situation, that we are getting maximum benefit. We are seizing every single opportunity that's there before us and getting closer to Him every single day. And again, we said this last week, that as soon as the doors of the masjids are open, we're going there with newfound strength that we didn't have before, newfound value that we took for granted before, and we rush to the masajids and liven them up like never before. It's like, for example, when Fath Makkah happened, The Prophet ﷺ was kicked out of Mecca, and then when they came back to Mecca, they had this newfound love that even Abu Sufyan's wife, Hind radiallahu anha, she became Muslim because she just like, whoa, everybody just worshiped tonight like I've never seen people worship before. And the masajid should have that much value for us as well, that much sacredness, that as soon as we get these doors open, we say, okay, certain things I did take for granted, I'm not going to do that anymore. Inshallah, with that as well, we still have to understand that as MCC, we still need everyone's support just because the masjids are locked down. We are applying for different grants, but we still have the full year coming ahead to continue paying the rent as well as the bills and everything. So please continue your support if you have the ability to. Minimum, if you can't support us because of your situation, please make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses MCC and continues to get supported. There's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can bring barakah and sources from where we don't accept. وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. So sustenance can come from anywhere. It just requires minimum of everyone's dua, and on top of that, if those that have the ability to step up and be the means of that dua as well. So inshallah, whenever we get confused, if we get confused, well, wait, what is the Prophet ﷺ? How did he deal with his wife? How did he deal with his family? How did he deal with his friends or kids? This is a very good opportunity also that this month we should try to learn and read some of the seerah with the Prophet ﷺ, read different stories about him. You can find it in your phones, you can find it in your in the computers. If you don't have the book, there's apps that are there about the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. So it's all there. Read it as a family and just say, okay, let's pick out one quality and try to work on it with our siblings, with our kids, with our parents, and really try to make this month of Ramadan a joyous one where everybody can say, you know what, that month of Ramadan was so blessed, I can't wait for the next Ramadan. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for all of us and forgive us for all of our shortcomings. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.